stopping by. I'd like to preface this video by saying it is not a knitting tutorial, but a means to have something playing in the background while you work on your own knitting project. If you're like me and really enjoy having something on while you work, sometimes the content you like is very visually engaging and you're several hours in and haven't gotten nearly as far along in your project as you would have liked to. So that's where I come in. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back. Hi everybody, it has been well over a month since we last were together, and I have been doing all kinds of things. As you can see, I am in a different location. This is my new room that I will be in, hopefully more so settled in than I am now. It has been a month and a couple days since I moved to my new state, and I am almost a month into my new job. Funny, Saturday will be officially 1 month of being employed, but because Saturday is a day that I don't go to work, I'm kind of counting it as the Friday before, so April 30th. And it has just been a whirlwind of emotions and events since I have moved, and as you can see, I still have boxes and things around. Actually, the boxes over here are my partner's. My portion of this room is done, so I am so happy about that, but my partner still needs to get their stuff in gear so that I can actually set up. I have my lighting, I don't have my lighting set up. I am using my trusty phone tripod with my phone today and probably the next few videos, just because I have my camera, but I don't have anywhere to really set up, so I don't want to get everything unboxed just to kind of have to put it away again while my partner still kind of goes through all of their stuff. So we'll see, but I'm so happy to be in front of you all again. It has been a while, and hi, there are quite a few of you guys who are new, and you probably feel a little bit left in a lurch because, you subscribed, thank you, but you're probably wondering where I am and what's going on. So if you hadn't watched any of my previous videos, then you might not know I moved out of state, I got a new job, and I am now at my new job and in my new apartment. It's still a 2-bedroom, so this is our second bedroom where I use it for crafting, for storage, and for filming with you all, and it's where I keep all my knitting stuff. So, I thought I was going to have more of an official update for you all, but I think I'm just going to break up the video into a couple different segments, because if I tried to put it all in one, it would be well over an hour, I'm sure, of content. And I know some of you really like that, and I love it, but for editing's sake and splicing, because my phone can only take so much footage at once, I'm just going to keep it a little short. But to get back into things, well, I gave you an update. I did want to let you know what I'm working on right now. So as the thumbnail title might suggest, I'm still deciding on what to even call this video, but I had a lapse in days where I've been working with my knitting calendar, and I would say I'd grab it, but it's fallen behind some other things, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. But I am back on track, kind of, for my holiday knitting this year. And if you have watched me in the past, you know that 2021 was my year of working on my projects in a more structured setting. I wasn't planning on getting a job where I had to relocate out of my state, so that kind of put a wrench in some of my planning for my knitting, but I am back on track. So I'm working right now on my cousin's boyfriend's scarf. He is getting just a sock weight scarf knit in the round. This is 100 stitches cast on. It's going to be seamed, so at the ends here we're going to seam this after we're done knitting the top or bottom, however you choose, then that's going to be seamed, and it's just going to be one long tube with two ends fused together. I have actually been knitting on this for maybe a week and a half now, give or take. It's just stockinette all the way around, so really nice meditative knitting. This is a sock weight with size 3 US needles, and that is what the pattern calls for. And I actually got this pattern out of a book that I hadn't really gotten into yet. It's called, I do have that available. It's called Not Just Socks. We looked through this in one of my perusing pattern book episodes where I talked about some of the inspiration that I found in this book and what I would like to do for my holiday knitting this year. So the sock, Not Just Socks, is all about sock weight yarn and what you can do with it beyond just socks. And of course it has some sock stuff in there too. But I chose just to do a simple scarf. This is, it just says, his striped scarf. And I am not making it striped, it's just this nice sock weight yarn. I think it's superwash merino, blueface, Leicester, cash sock. Oh yeah, that's the name of the sock. So it's cashmere, a little bit of that blue-faced Leicester, some silk, and I'm guessing that's some kind of yarn. It does not say, well yes, it does say superwash, SW, so that is superwash. But it was from a yarn shop that went out of business back where I was recently. I wouldn't say my hometown, but before I moved, I had lived in the burbs in a Midwestern state. And there was there was a yarn shop that I had learned about only right before they closed because one of my coworkers told me about it. And I went there, and so I bought some of their house yarn. So the woman who owned the shop does dye yarn herself. I haven't seen any activity on her site recently, but I believe she still does like conventions and stuff like that. She might even still have some classes, like knitting classes, but she closed down her yarn shop, and I'm glad I kind of had this little bit of a souvenir, I guess. There's some other yarn that I bought from her that was also from her own dyeing endeavors. So even though this isn't going to be for me, it's going to a family member, I guess. I can still see it around, I suppose, if I ever go and visit my family. They're still on the West Coast. They were laughing because they're like, wow, Paws and Pearls, you keep moving further and further away from us. Are you trying to tell us something? And I was like, no. I mean, of course they were kidding, but it's like, no. I just happened to find a really awesome job that I couldn't pass up, and it happens to be clear across the country. So that's that on that. But yeah, so I'm just knitting on this. I have in mind to start. Oh, by the way, Ginny, if you're watching this, hi. I know it's been a long time, but as soon as I realized we were talking about some gloves, or mittens actually. I think I was going to go with mittens because I wouldn't have to measure fingers. But I was thinking about mittens for my cousin's children for holiday. And they just turned 12 and they got phones. Their mother was just not able to hold off any longer. They kept begging and pleading her to get phones, and I honestly thought she was going to be one of those, like, no, I mean, they had iPads, but I didn't think, or not iPads, they had tablets, like kid-friendly tablets. I didn't think she was going to cave and get them actual phones, but they have phones now, so yes, if I do end up going with gloves for them, they will have to be fingerless so they can text and all that. They're just little grown-ups now. I'm just like thinking, I was 16 when I got my first cell phone, and before that I was borrowing my parents' phone when I would go out with my friends, because then they'd be like, okay, well, we're going to be at home, you call, or they'd give me one, and then one of them would have the other phone of the parent and say, okay, call us, when you get to where you're going, or call us when you get home, or call us whenever you're on your way or something. So they could keep tabs on me. So, up until I was 16, I had to borrow my parents' cell phone when I would go out. And so once I was 16 and I got my own, I was like, ooh, I'm so cool. But I was back when you still had to pay for texting, and it was like T9, so you had to like hit the letter how many times until you got to the letter you wanted, and then it advanced where it could kind of predict what you wanted to say after that. And now it's just super smart. Everything's so different now than when I was a kid, and obviously so different from when my parents were kids than when I was a kid. So to think that my cousin's kids are now cell phone strapped with the technology is just further actuating that I'm old. And not like old, but old where I'm starting to compare my childhood to somebody else's and be like, it wasn't like that. And that's usually when I feel like I'm old, when I can start to say, back in my day, or back when I was their age, I was playing with Barbies, which admittedly I didn't stop playing with Barbies till it's like about 14, 15. I loved playing with Barbies. Didn't matter that, I was a teenager at that point. I still really liked playing with dolls. So, yeah. Anywho, I live in a super busy area now, so there's a street, like, there's a window there. Hopefully I'll have some more natural light in here during the day. It's 11:05 p.m. Sunday night, and it's just busy street I live on. So, I used to live in the burbs, and it was very quiet. I still live pretty close to where I work, but I can't walk to work. I mean, I could walk to work, but I would have to leave maybe an hour before before my job, and now I leave like maybe 30 minutes before, give or take, which is so nice. It's just such a straight shot to work. It's really nice. I'm really fortunate that I was able to land an apartment that was close enough that I still don't have to spend grueling hours getting to work and commuting, which for me wasn't ever a big deal. It was just getting up in time to get to work. I am not a morning person. I'm not really a fan of having an alarm anyway, and having to like answer to any particular calling. So the fact that I can sleep in a little later to get to work is such a privilege of mine, and I'm very appreciative, very, very lucky that I was able to find housing so close to where I work, considering I'm new to the area, don't know the neighborhoods or anything. So kind of like going in blindly here, I struck gold, I would say. I struck gold. So all of that to say that it's very noisy out. Who was that? I heard somebody. It sounded like Koji, my cat. I think he was screaming outside of the door. But on the other side of me, I have pedestrians, I have sirens, I have horns, I have loud cars, I have all of the things that I remember from living in a city. And it had been maybe 3.5 years since I lived in a city before now. So kind of getting used to all the ruckus again has been something. Koji has definitely been pretty frightful of the activity on the other side. So the common hall where people are coming and going, my apartment's actually right next to the garbage chute on my floor. So people come by all the time to throw their garbage out. So he hears that and he gets scared. So he has his safe places where he can go and hide, but he's getting a little bit better about it. But every now and then, if he hears someone, he'll still run and find some shelter. So I think before I run my mouth too long and end up cutting out the video, we're going to end here, but fear not, I am actually going to just upload another video for the next, hoping to pick up with my usual Monday, Wednesday, Friday upload schedule, but we'll see. I have some things coming up to talk to you guys about, which may or may not contribute to that schedule. I don't know. We'll find out. But in the meantime, just knitting around, you know, nothing fancy, very therapeutic, very fun. This is my favorite kind of knitting where I don't have to really think too hard, but I can just keep going and it's not like I have to stop and flip it because it's just in the round. So with all of that being said, thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm probably as surprised as you are to see me here after it's been so long, but it's kind of like riding a bike where I feel like I can just get right back into it. And I was actually a little bit hesitant to start recording because I wasn't sure how I would feel in front of the camera again, because it's been probably, this might be the longest time it's been between like some kind of transition where I hadn't filmed. So with that being said, thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.